Hello, we are watching VNews Broadcast Daily, and following are today's top stories.
Vietnam-Cambodia increase planning cooperation. ASEAN Economic Ministers Retreat opens in Hanoi. Japanese traditional dolls on display at Vietnamese Women's Museum in Hanoi.
President Truong Tan Sang has urged the planning ministries of Vietnam and Cambodia to effectively implement the agreements reached during their recent talks. The state leader made the comments at a meeting with Cambodian Minister of Planning Chahai Thant in Hanoi on March 7.
Sang applauded Cambodia's achievements gained amid the gloomy global economic situation and thanked the country for creating favorable conditions for Vietnamese investors in Cambodia. He highly valued the effective cooperation of ministries and sectors from both countries in demarcation and market planting on trade land border. Chai Than thanked the Vietnamese people for their warm sentiments, especially during the funeral of late King Norodom Sihanouk. He said the results of the talks between the two planning ministers will contribute to the implementation of high-level agreements between the two countries. Vietnam has contributed to Cambodia's achievements over the past years, he said. He expressed his belief that with joint effort, two-way trade between the neighboring countries will reach $5 billion by 2015. Earlier on the same day, Choi Than and his delegation made a fact-finding tour to the northern province of Nam Dinh to learn from the locality's experience in building a new model of rural areas.
Prime Minister Nguyen Thanh Dũng has affirmed that Vietnam will continue to be an active and responsible member of ASEAN, especially during the development of the ASEAN Economic Community.
On March 7th, he met ASEAN economic ministers and the association's Secretary General Lê Lương Minh, who are in Hanoi for the 19th ASEAN Economic Ministers Retreat and related meetings from March 6th to 9th. The Prime Minister expressed his hope that the economic ministers will foster cooperation for a successful ASEAN community and the elevation of economic links among the association's members and between ASEAN and other countries. Dũng congratulated Brunei on taking ASEAN chair in 2013 and affirmed that Vietnam will do its utmost to support the country. The economic ministers highly valued Vietnam's role in the association and applauded the country's achievements in all fields during the past years. The ministers and Secretary General Minh asserted that they would coordinate closely to fulfill the association's set targets, especially the building of an ASEAN community by 2015.
Also on March 7th, Prime Minister Nguyen Thanh Dũng received European Union Trade Commissioner Karen de Gucht in Hanoi. The Prime Minister said Vietnam wishes to boost two-way trade with the European Union and speed up negotiations on a free trade agreement.
Dũng said he believes with mutual effort and political determination, the free trade agreement negotiations will conclude later this year. Gucht, who is in Vietnam to attend related meetings within the framework of the 19th ASEAN Economic Ministers meetings, said the EU wants to increase links with Vietnam and other ASEAN member nations. He vowed that the EU will make every effort to promptly conclude bilateral free trade agreement negotiations with Vietnam. The EU's development assistance to Vietnam was around €750 million a year ago.
Economic ministers of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations convened their 19th meeting in Hanoi on March 8th.
At the meeting, the ministers signed protocols to amend a number of ASEAN economic agreements on the trade of goods and the ASEAN Comprehensive Investment Agreement, which is expected to facilitate investment and trade within the bloc. They reached consensus on promoting regional economic integration for the formation of the ASEAN Economic Community by 2015. The ministers touched upon the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, which has content relating to the negotiations of the agreement. They also discussed the assistance to enterprises by building the ASEAN Business Network and the mechanism to assist small and medium-sized enterprises, as well as increasing young entrepreneurs' capacity.
Senior economic officials from Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar and Vietnam have discussed initiatives and solutions to bridge the development gap between the four countries and other ASEAN members.
At the conference, the fifth of its kind in Hanoi, the delegates focused on evaluating the results of the projects that the four countries have carried out to narrow the development gap. The officials agreed to promote the implementation of the projects within the framework of the Initiative for ASEAN Economic Integration, supported by the remaining 6 ASEAN members and some developed countries. The projects focus on developing infrastructure, transport, technology and communication, human resources, poverty reduction, and tourism promotion in the 4 countries. The 6th Conference of Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar and Vietnam will be held in Laos at the end of 2013.
The Asian Development Bank will provide loans to Vietnam to have the country enhance low-carbon agriculture development and strengthen the government's capacity to implement ADB finance projects.
Agreements on the $111.88 million loans were signed in Hanoi on March 7th. The $74 million loan will be used to mainstream climate-smart agricultural waste management practices. It looks to reduce pollution from agricultural waste and improve the environment in some 10 provinces across the country. The $37.88 million sum will help improve the Vietnamese government's capacity in setting up, preparing and conducting ADB finance projects to ensure effective aid utilization.
Vietnam allies will reduce airfare to Europe by as much as 27% from now until March 30.
According to the national flagship carrier, round-trip fare from Vietnam to Frankfurt or London is now only $550. A trip to Paris now costs $600. However, depending on the seat situation, the fares may be higher. These fares do not include taxes and surcharges.
More than 200 Japanese dolls, mainly Kimakami dolls, are being showcased at the Vietnamese Women's Museum in Hanoi. This is part of activities to mark the Japan-Vietnam Friendship Year 2013 and International Women's Day.
Kimakami dolls, which are made of willow wood and decorated with glass scraps, were first made in the Japanese ancient capital of Kyoto in the 17th century. The handmade dolls are believed to drive away devils and disease while protecting old people and children. The March 6th to 31st exhibition is organized by the Vietnamese Women's Museum and the Japan Foundation Center for Cultural Exchange in Vietnam in cooperation with the Japanese Embassy in Vietnam. Meanwhile, the Japan Foundation Center for Cultural Exchange presents a collection of around 40 selected Japanese dolls, including female dolls dressed in kimonos, dolls depicting characters from traditional Japanese performing arts like no and kabuki, hakata dolls or clay dolls, and kekoshi dolls with their unique character. Dolls have been a part of everyday life in Japan since the ancient time.